Everyone, good morning. So we are finishing up today Siman Reish Nun Zayin, talking about the laws of Hatmana, and until now we've talked about insulating, let's say, our Dafina. I think the assumption people might have had is that the Dafina is on the fire, and I'm insulating the Dafina with blankets, whatever it is, and it's over the fire. So the truth is, until now, we were speaking that it's not on the fire. But we'll see that it's not going to make such a difference, but not to jump yet. So, meaning it's very, very hot, and now it's going to be off the fire, but I want to insulate it so that it remains hot throughout Shabbat or till Shabbat morning. So then I cover it before Shabbat, etc. Now, what about if it's on the fire? So actually, the Shulchan Aruch is strict and says if it's remaining on the fire, even before Shabbat, you can't insulate it, even with things that are not Mosif Hevel, like let's say blankets. That would be a classic example. He says a kind of a way to do it is you put a flat, let's say piece of metal or a flat other pot on top of, let's say, your Dafina. You cover that one where it's kind of like in the air, like an umbrella type of thing, hovering the other one, and that's how you could do it. But there's a general rule when it comes to the Shulchan Aruch, and the general kind of rule is if there's a minhag that precedes the Shulchan Aruch, that was the Shulchan Aruch that Rabbi Yosef Karo lived in Tzfat, 1500s, early 1500s. If there was a minhag that was done beforehand, of course the minhag founded halacha, based on halacha, of course, and that was agreed upon. Then you could say that no, this minhag was done before the Shulchan Aruch, and even the Shulchan Aruch is our source of halacha, because this minhag was a known minhag and it was done beforehand, and based on halacha, we go with that minhag. And all the Svardik poskim here, from Iraq to Morocco, Rav Avad Yosef, Rabbi Shalom Asas, Rabbi Ben Tzir Bashaul, Persian, everybody agrees that the minhag for Sfaradim was like what the Ashkenazim do, and that preceded the Shulchan Aruch, which was that we do cover our pots, even if it's on the fire, even directly covering it, of course, from before Shabbat. So therefore, one can cover his pots from before Shabbat, even if it's going to be on the fire. And on the fire, as we meant, then we have the other halachot that the fire is to be covered. So let's say you have a blech, you have a piece of metal covering it, those halachot. It can't be on an open flame, fine. Anyways, you don't want your blankets near an open flame, fine. So, but it could be covered on the fire. Now, Rabbi Ben Tzir Bashaul does say, to kind of make things a little bit better, is that if you don't cover things completely, if you leave it a little bit uncovered, and also, as we learned, that if your intention is to have that food Shabbat morning as opposed to Friday night, then also you're not going to come to stoke the fire or anything like that, which is the whole issue of Hatmana, and therefore it's better off like that. Rabbi Avad Yosef says that if it's on a hot plate, which is an electrical hot plate, it's even better because the fire is covered and it's not it's more far removed than an actual fire there under the blech. And this would also, someone asked me regarding an urn, hot water urns. You might have seen they have these nice type of covers that go over a hot water urn. They even have Halachot Shabbat on it or whatever, cloth cover. So that can be put on your hot, even though there's kind of a fire there, electric right below, you could put that on before Shabbat onto your urn. Ideally, and I think some of them make this, where the cut around where the spout is a little bit big, does expose some of the metal there, so it's kind of like not covered completely. That's like an even better thing. But if it's done before Shabbat, cloth is something that's eno mosif hevel, so it could be done. Just want to read for you the end of the Ramah on the Siman. The end of the Ramah says as follows: "U'mitzvah lehatmin leShabbat kadesh yochal chamin beShabbat." It's a mitzvah to insulate in the proper ways, of course, for Shabbat, in order to eat chamin on Shabbat, in order to eat hot food on Shabbat, chamin, dafina, ki zeu michvot ve'oneg Shabbat. It's for the honor and for oneg of Shabbat. V'chol mi she'eno ma'amin v'divrei chachamim ve'oser achilat chamim beShabbat. And anyone that doesn't believe the words of the chachamim and says it's asur to eat hot foods on Shabbat, because just backtracking, and we think we mentioned this before, there's the Machlok time in the Gemara where the Tzidukim, those that believe, God forbid, only in the written Torah, not in the oral Torah, They say you can't have anything hot on Shabbat. Fires asur on Shabbat, cooking, you can't have anything. The Chachamim said, no, if it started before Shabbat, it stayed on the fire before Shabbat, carries into Shabbat, you're allowed to have. And therefore the Chachamim basically made, and that's why we have it in worldwide, Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, wherever you're from, we have something hot on Shabbat morning. Chachamim instilled not to be like the Tzidukim, and to have something that's on the fire from before Shabbat, carrying into Shabbat morning. So if anyone says, no, we're not supposed to have hot things on Shabbat morning, Chayshinan Shema Apikorosu, we're worried maybe this person is, God forbid, not a non-believer. So it's very important to have hot food on Shabbat. Now the Mishnah Berurah does say, let's say a person, it's difficult for him to have hot food on Shabbat morning. He's allowed to eat cold, but he's supposed to have hot food on Shabbat morning. And just the end of the Mishnah Berurah quotes the Baal HaMaor, and he says like this, a nice little rhyme. Ochel chamim, a person that eats chamin, levashel lehatmin, he cooks and he insulates it, ule'aneg et ha-shabbat ulehashmin, and he oneg Shabbat and he gets a little bit fatter. Hu ha'ma'amin, he is the believer. Vezocheh leketz hayamim, and he's zocheh to the end of days, zocheh to Mashiach, and zocheh to Olam Haba. Beautiful words. Okay, that's that for Siman Reish Nun Zayin. Mincha tonight at 4:30. 4:30. Have a good day, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. Question.
Quick question about the halacha. You said most of the Sephardim had the
Minhag beforehand.
Okay, Shulchan Aruch was written in Turkey. So what about the Turkish?
What about the Turkish? I don't know, but it seems like it seems like it goes for all Sfaradim. Yeah. Chazak Baruch.